So we can, there was a request from Gita Shri to recapture what we did the last time because it was a little bit too maybe sophisticated, though I got a very interesting response from Dawn, kind of looking into this issue of kind of recapturing it again, but I'm not sure whether we can do it. Very, very briefly is this, that the Vedic system and the Sri Aurobindo's integral yoga system, his discoveries, are matching in a way. This is a surprise for everyone. So he recovered the whole region of overmind, which was totally forgotten in the post-Vedic literature. This is in brief, I will tell you. So that region of overmind was called Maya, and it is called Maya in the Veda. But Maya in the Veda is the creatrix of forms. And later Maya in the post-Vedic becomes the illusion of some kind. So that bypassing of the overmind, in brief to say, in the post-Vedic, removed the whole topic of the supermind, because overmind itself is the link to the supermind. It is the domain of the ray of the sun, yeah? The three trirochanas, three luminous realms of the overmind, are the realms of the ray of the sun. So now once the ray of the sun becomes an illusion, then the very sun changes and loses its value. So from the symbol of the truth, yeah, truth which is to be manifested in this world, the sun is the truth. The sun becomes malefic in the system of Jyotisha. It becomes something very secondary in the system of post-Vedic thinking. The sun loses its value. And you can see it even in Mahabharata. Karna, though Karna was born immortal, notice, immortal, born immortal. He gave away his immortality, yes, and became kind of nobody. For what? To promote Arjuna's greatness. Yeah, Arjuna is lesser being. He is the son of Indra. Yeah? So this rivalry between Indra and Surya, there is that. There also in Indian culture there are dances made on this ground, how they fight Indra and Surya, who will be dominating, is actually the overmind and the supermind. And the overmind takes over. So to say, the realm of the birth of the great gods, as Sri Aurobindo says, where Krishna also is from, so to say, is taking over because it's more important than the birth of the sun yet. We didn't arrive yet at that importance of Surya. So with the loss of the kind of understanding of the overmind, the supermind disappears altogether. From the philosophy, from the tradition, from the thinking of transformation of earthly life becomes impossible in the minds of the Hindus. The only possibility was to jump over into the transcendental, over the sun, so to say. So the sun and the ray of the sun, the realms of the ray of the sun disappear altogether. They become the illusion, because through these realms, actually, the manifestation of the truth in this earthly atmosphere is possible only. They are the agents of transformation. They are the links to the transcendental. So once the links are cut, there are no links, and there are only two choices. Either you go there, mukti is the major concept, leave everything, this is the imprisonment of this earth, or you stay here. Either or, either spiritual or material life, never together. So India went for the spiritual, the West went for the material. And so these two split, the two paths split, and you can't keep both. Yeah. And we spoke about this quite a bit. Yeah. When I thought of the nature, I lost God. When I thought of God, I lost nature. That's what Satyavan says to Savitri when they meet. So how to combine them both? Is that to recover the supermind and overmind and all those realms of starting from the higher mind, illumined mind, and then overmental realms, intuition, overmind, and supramental overmind proper, and then the triple supermind was recovered by Sri Aurobindo. Yeah? In the Indian tradition, nobody else did this work. And this is the greatness of Sri Aurobindo.
So is that why this is also the subjective age? Because what you're describing happens at a deep level psychologically within us. So is this the subjective age also indicator for the subjective age?
Yeah, well, subjective age would happen anyhow because that's what we know about, how we interpret our own understanding of the world, you see. How we deal with the reality is something which is kind of... But subjective age is whether we want it or not, it will be coming in, you know, kind of coming to us. And we can see it that what happens in the world, everybody becomes subjective in his or her own perception, and that everybody wants to participate. The courses are changing. It's not lecturing, you know, sitting and lecturing somebody. Yeah, everybody wants to be part of it, to learn something, to take something with himself or herself. Yeah. So we can see that subjectivity is entering very strongly, but of course it will be, as Sri Aurobindo says, the first stage will be very vital and egoistic, yeah, and we can see this also in the world. The desires have to be realized. You can see in many examples. Trump, for example, why Trump was successful is quite interesting because of subjective age. Yeah. But he abused this kind of drive of humanity. Everybody wants to have a subjective truth. Yeah. But you can through his self-assertion of egoism and all that, he could go through because the subjective need is already here.
Got it.
So it will be like this everywhere. That's why even Putin, with his nonsense subjectivity in war, is going through because he's saying something like Hitler was saying. Yeah. So Hitler was the beginning of the subjective age, actually, truly speaking. These are the elements of the waking of the nations. And Sri Aurobindo speaks highly about the even the awakening of the German nation soul, yes, only it was hijacked by the vital ego. And this hijacking by the vital ego is dangerous. It's the danger of the awakening of the subjectivity. Yeah? There is a true subjectivism and false subjectivism. He distinguishes between them. So one is hijacked by the ego and the desires, and that's what happened in the history. And it will happen many times still.
It's happening right now also.
Yes.
If you watch people and in their lives, it's all about the vital ego and their subjective
Lies, exactly.
Yeah.
These lies are the sign of that subjectivity hijacked by the vital ego, desires, preferences. All that comes now up. And we are overloaded. It's incredible how far we went with these lies. Yeah? Falsehood dominates the consciousness of everyone nowadays. It's even, you don't know even what to do because people lie through the teeth every day. So you cannot rectify the lies anymore. There is no time, because you have new lies all the time arriving. So you have no time to really say, wait a minute, there is a new lie. And then you want to catch this, there is a new lie. So there is no time to deal with this. And this is a very dangerous transition. There could be a disaster for the whole Earth. Now we can see this nuclear war, threats, all kind of things. Today there was a very heavy day for Ukraine. They hit all the cities with rockets, with missiles, with everything. Infrastructure, people, kindergartens, everything. Yeah. So why? Because they are losing. They don't have the strength, yeah, to fight on the military ground, on the front, army against army. They are losing. So they hit the infrastructure and the civilians to create a chaos. And this is one part of the same idea of subjectivism, false subjectivism. Mm-hmm. Okay, so for today, is that overview was enough, or it was kind of, yeah, all right.
Thank you.
Yeah, because to go into all the nitty-gritties would be a little much. I will be stuck somewhere with some term, and then I will spend all the time. So today I prepared something new for us, and that is, again, we are following the night and dawn. So I want to present some symbolism which was used by Sri Aurobindo and in the Veda. He took this symbolism from the Veda to his Savitri. And this is something interesting because Sri Aurobindo discovered the language he wanted. He was looking for the language to describe his own experiences, as I was mentioning already. And he couldn't find the language even in the Gita, even in Upanishads, but he discovered it in the Veda. That symbolism which he was using in his Savitri is taken from the Veda. He discovered the language which could describe his own experiences. So that spiritual language of the Gita, or this very symbolic language, intuitive language of the Upanishads, were not enough for him as a poet. He wanted more, and he didn't find it there. So he discovered those imagery in the Veda, which became the major symbolism of Savitri. Yeah, you can see it there. So we will be comparing with passages from Savitri. So there are many myths. This is my presentation for today in the Veda, which describe the beginning of creation from different angles, as it were, or stages. Some of them start with the description of the Supreme Person, Atman, self. Others with impersonal spirit, Brahman. Start from nothingness or darkness, which they call night, Ratri, Apa, Sapraketam, Salilam, dark waters. Or sometimes as Mrityu, death, everything started with death, etc., etc. There are many myths, many different stories of creation. They all refer to different stages of creation where darkness or nothingness was depicted as our beginning, but not as our origin. There, I make a distinction between origin and beginning. Well, which is very meaningful. You will see it in the text. You can see these things. We can easily reconcile these myths, knowing that the darkness was the result of the fall of the supreme light in evolution. Yeah, we know it from the story of the mother. We know from other stories also. So light is the origin of night. The origin of night. The night was born from the truth, out of the outcome, as the outcome of the supreme consciousness power, tapas. And from the night, then, all the manifestation came into being. There is the whole hymn in the Rig Veda, 190 from Mandala 10. Ritam cha satyam cha bhiddhat tapaso dhya jayata tato ratri ajayata tatah samudro arnavah. From tapas, the law and the truth were born. The law and the truth. Ritam cha satyam. The dynamic truth and the static truth came from tapas. From there, the night was born. Tato ratri ajayata. And from there, the waters of the ocean, of the inconscient ocean, samudro arnavah. Samudrat arnavad Adhi Samvatsara Ajayata, from the waters of the ocean, the year was born. The year is the whole concept of time, the Lord of all cyclic changes. The Creator established days and nights, now second stage, days and nights, fashioned accordingly the sun and the moon, heaven and earth, and space in between. And then Svar. Svar is the realms of the ray of the sun. Very interesting, because this we can, of course, spend the whole hour to discuss this, but I want to go ahead. So the night was born first from the shining truth. This is important for us. And then from there, the waters, the inconscient, the waters of the inconscient, from the waters, the year, the time factor. And from there, from the time, the cyclic repetition, the days and nights came into being. So the second night came into being. So there are two nights, as it were. We will come to these two nights.
I have a question here.
Yeah.
This night was born from truth because it was the shadow of truth. Is that the night you're referring to?
Right. What Mother said, those first four emanations, the consciousness in light turned into the darkness. That is the first.
But that's how night was born from truth, because it is the shadow.
Right. The night is nothing but light which forgot about the Supreme. Yeah?
And this word from tapas, the law and the truth were born. What does tapas mean in this context here? Is it the concentrated force?
Yes, it is the chit tapas, yes, that consciousness force. Yes.
Okay. Thank
Vladimir?
you.
Yes.
Vladimir?
Yes.
Does the night when that you have highlighted here, would that be equivalent to the void in the Bible? In Genesis?
Yeah, in the Bible it's interesting because the God says, I already joked about this, let it be light. Yeah? Because there was night. And in the Vedas it's just the opposite. The God says, let it be night, because he is light. So the light is presumed as an origin, whereas in the Bible, the night is presumed as an origin, and the light came from the night. Even that is the second stage. There will be the light coming from the night as an evolutionary light. Yeah, it will start evolving out of the night. But the original night was born out of the light. Yeah?
Yeah, because even for everything to come out of the void has to contain that.
Absolutely. So it is presuming that it contains it. Yes.
Correct. And so there has to be something unmanifest that existed, which if you go back far enough before, perhaps, there has to be.
Absolutely.
Nothing can come from nothing.
Absolutely.
The void has to contain everything.
Right, that void, that night, has actually containing everything, and we'll see these passages in Savitri and in the Veda about that night as a container for everything. Yeah?
Right.
That's the cosmic night, right?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So here we see some imagery from Sri Aurobindo Savitri. As you remember, he begins with night and ends with night. We will read these passages. So he starts his Savitri with this, the symbol dawn, the first canto, symbol dawn. How the dawn was born out of the night. It was the hour before the gods awake. Before the gods awake in general, it was the hour. Yeah? The gods were not yet there. And that's why in Nasadiya Suktam, we have this strange passage where it says, who knows where this manifestation is coming from? The gods were not yet there. Yeah? So there are no gods. So gods are the faculties of consciousness. Consciousness was not involved. Who can say where it comes from if the consciousness which perceives that it was not there? So nobody knows. Only he knows, the Veda says. Adhyaksha, the one who is viewing from above, he knows. Adhyaksha, yeah? Who sees from far, from above. Or maybe he also doesn't know. And this is an interesting topic. How come that even he doesn't know? So, and the answer I was looking for quite some time, and I thought that I understood why. Because in that darkness, he lost his self-awareness. In that darkness, he doesn't know. Or he knows it as transcendental there, but he doesn't know it within the darkness.
Could it also be the gods of the inconscient were not awake?
Right. It is a fallen emanation. We should,
Fallen.
yeah, it is not the original night. Night is a product of light. We should just remember that. Yeah? That gives us the foundation for understanding of this manifestation. Because there is nothing here which is not originally the divine. Even night, even the absence of consciousness, even total loss of oneself is the result of the divine origin. So here we have it. Across the path of the divine event, this is some interesting, a huge foreboding mind of night alone in her unlit temple of eternity lay stretched, immobile, upon silence march. So this night, the mind of night, lay stretched across the path. This is an important understanding. So it wasn't there, it was across. Why across? Because the light was there at the beginning, then night, and then again light. Yeah? It is crossing the path of light, as it were. Sri Aurobindo presumes this, yeah, that's why he's using across the path of the divine event. Notice event with capital E. Amazing. This divine event, it's something bigger than we can even imagine. It is light moving towards light, yeah, over the night, over the field of night. We find this everywhere, in the Vedas, in Upanishads, these hints, yes? Like, yes, it doesn't come to my mind. So I will come back to this avidyaya mrityum tirtva, by avidya, by ignorance, crossing the field of mrityu, of death, vidyaya mritamashnote. One enjoys the immortality by vidya, by knowledge. So this is exactly this, yeah, in a brief. So by avidya, by ignorance, we are crossing through the field of death. By the partial knowledge, we cross the field of death, but by the absolute knowledge of ourselves, we enjoy immortality simultaneously in this moment. So this is the divine event, very difficult to describe. You have to say many words to describe this divine event where the night and the light are present together. One is doing one work, another is doing another work. So both are working together to create this marvelous manifestation, yeah? Where he, the one who alone is, wanted to be many. So, and here is another, this divine event, there is another beautiful passage which actually confirms this. Night is not our beginning, nor our end. We came to her from a supernal light. By light we live. This is what I wanted to say. And to the light we go. We even now in the night live by light. So this, when we are crossing, we enjoy the immortality of our being by knowledge of light, which is present within us. And he ends with the lines, the whole Savitri event, when Savitri comes back after saving Satyavan, these are the last lines of Savitri. Numberless the stars swam on their shadowy field, describing in the gloom the ways of light. Then, while they skirted yet the southward's verge, lost in the halo of her musing brows, night, splendid, with the moon dreaming in heaven, in silver peace, possessed her luminous reign. She brooded through her stillness on a thought, deep guarded by her mystic folds of light, and in her bosom nursed a greater dawn. Sri Aurobindo is a rishi. Huh? He knows how to end the whole Savitri. This is the whole mystery of our life, actually. The night and the dawn and the light.
Life is only an episode in between these two events.
Yes. And she is nursing a greater dawn. We are the night which is nursing the greater dawn within us. So, there are two nights, as we mentioned already. Sri Aurobindo writes in The Secret of the Veda. Utter night, out of which the worlds arise, is the symbol of the inconscient. This is to support Robin's idea. That is the inconscient ocean, that the darkness concealed within darkness, out of which the one is born by the greatness of his energy. You remember in the first canto, then in this inscrutable darkness, something stirred. Then something in the inscrutable darkness stirred, a nameless thought and an unthought idea, a nameless something stir there. I don't remember exactly. And so this is the beginning. There's something in the inscrutable darkness stirred. Don't remember by heart. I should learn Savitri by heart.
I can read it out if you want.
Yes, please. Then
the impassive skies were neutral, empty still. Then something in the inscrutable darkness stirred, a nameless movement, an unthought idea, insistent, dissatisfied, without a name, something that wished but knew not how to be, tease the inconscient to wake ignorance.
So beautiful. Yeah, this is good enough. Thank you. This is lovely. Yeah, there's something is there which is teasing the inconscient to wake the ignorance. Ignorance is already half. That is that other night which appears from that creation, yeah, as the result of the time. So that is the inconscient ocean, and the darkness concealed within the darkness, out of which the one is born by the graceness of his energy. But in the world of our darkened mortal view of things, there reigns the lesser night of the ignorance. That's what it was kind of teasing to awake in that deeper night, which envelopes heaven and earth and the mid-region and our mental and physical consciousness and our vital being. These later nights, which were in the later creation came, says Sri Aurobindo, are other than those utter darknesses which are dreaded as the occasion of the enemy, the haunt of the demons of division who devour. These are rather the pleasant nights, the divine and blessed ones who equally labor for our growth. This is amazing if you think of it. And it's exactly that passage of which we read just now, from Savitri, where he gives this, the night splendid. Yeah? This is that numberless stars. These stars, it's a starry night. It's not that gloomy, dark, deep and without any light night. A night splendid with the moon dreaming in heaven. This in silver piece, there is silver there. Yeah, there is silver light, so to say, possessed her luminous reign. This is amazing. She has her luminous reign, the night. She's very luminous. If you look into the sky through the telescope, you will see how many colors, all kind of colors. It's full of light. The night. And what is interesting in this here I'm writing, it is interesting to note the word ratri, night, etymologically can be derived from the root ra, to grant, to impart, to yield, to bestow. She is granting, as it were, or from the root ram, to rejoice, to rest, and can be translated as bestower of wealth or giving rest. Ratri can be translated as rai, from rai root, kindred root, luminous. She is luminous, bestowing wealth. This is something interesting, yeah, because it corresponds to what Sri Aurobindo says, yeah. Possessed her luminous reign. It's amazing. I think he takes it from this kind of archetypal thinking of the Veda, or he's inspired at least in the same way.
Vladimir, what about the darkness that we encounter when we go out to space? What kind of a night is that? You know, when you look out of the telescope, the space is all dark and you just see these beautiful lights and glowing galaxies.
Right. Yes, she is the envelope, or what to say, the location for all these stars are like the presences of consciousness within her bosom. So here it's a very interesting passage which explains exactly that what you were asking. Hiranistupa Angirasa invokes the gods one by one, and he says, Vayami Agnim Prathamam Suastaye. I call to Agni first for well-being. Vayami Mitra Varuna Ihavase. I call Mitra and Varuna, the divine consciousness and being here for support or for the growth. And then, Vayami Ratrim Jagato Niveshanim. I invoke the night as the entrance to the manifest world. So, or as the one who introduces all of us into this world. She is the introducer, Niveshani, literally the one who brings and puts us into the world. It is the place where we are all placed. It's our house. It's our body unconscious. It's our unconscious space around us. Yeah? So it is the holder of the consciousness. It's a jar in which we are all put. I call to God Savitar for his assistance. It's interesting for the Rishi, the night is the goddess. Yeah, he invokes her as the location for our manifestations. He worships her for that purpose. So there is no running away from night. It's not kind of turning away to light or something. Just knowing her purpose. Sri Aurobindo writes in The Secret of the Veda, this is his passage on the dawn and night. I wanted to make it shorter today, so that's why I didn't go too much into the Vedic texts, but I will read the essential passage which explains their relation of dawn and night. Dawn and night runs an impressive Vedic verse, two sisters of different forms but of one mind. Suckle the same divine child. They are both two mothers of Agni. They are both nourishing Agni, the growth of light within. They are both needed. We understand nothing. Dawn and night are of different forms, but why of one mind? And who is the child? This is all Sri Aurobindo, yes? If it is Agni, the fire, what are we to understand by dawn and night suckling, alternately the infant fire? But the Vedic poet is not thinking of the physical night and the physical dawn or the physical fire. He is thinking of the alternations in his own spiritual experience. Its constant rhythm of periods of sublime and golden illumination and other periods of obscuration or relapse into a normal, unillumined consciousness. And he confesses the growth of the infant strength of the divine life within him through all these alternations. And even by the very force of their regular vicissitudes. For in both states there works hidden or manifest the same divine intention and the same high-reaching labor. Thus, an image which to the Vedic mind was clear, luminous, subtle, profound, striking, comes to us void of sense, or poor, or incoherent in sense, and therefore affects us as inflated and pretentious, the ornament of an inept and bungling literary craftsmanship. So he's a joker also at the same time. He laughs. He always very humorous in a way. He kind of throws the stone into those, Indologists who study the Veda from the West. But it is this alternation of, it's actually a very good topic for our course in sleep, would be also that this alternation is indispensable for our growth. Why? Because we have to take onto ourselves the unconscious parts constantly. Once we move forward on the path of light, we have to return to those parts which were not taken by us. We have to come back constantly. So our growth is going like this. The higher we rise, the lower we have to dive. The higher you rise, the more darkness you have to take. So there is no escape from this. You see, there is no moksha. That's why there is no moksha or mukti in the Veda, because the whole process is seen differently as a constant transformation of the night into the light. Yeah? All the elements of our unconscious being and ordinary being have to be taken into the light or by the light. And that's why constant alternation between dawn and night. That's why they are with the same mind. They have the same goal, the same idea, the same aim, both of them. Night is here also playing the role of the embodiment of consciousness and the divine manifestation. Yeah. This is an amazing discovery which later is totally lost. The night is doing the divine work, growing here the divine child. We never think in those terms anymore. Night is something bad, something to be avoided, something to be scared of. No. It is the divine worker here. You see how high the view is coming. The Vedic rishis look from such height, which sees the night as the worker for the divine. I give this passage which have been documented. It's just for the sake of seeing how it is in the Vedic terms. But maybe I don't need to repeat. And one more passage which I wanted to take, maybe if we have time. The dawn, daughter of heaven, and night, her sister, are obverse and reverse sides of the same eternal infinite. And there are passages in the Rig Veda which I took to compare with. The dark and red are the two sisters, which is one great power of the gods. They are both two kind of sides of the same coin of the power of the gods. As if inside the wonderful secret place, these two, whose one side is hidden and the other is visible, the path leads to one aim in opposite directions. Great is the one power of the gods. In opposite directions, they lead to the same aim. Amazing. Vedic rishis are not afraid to speak the language, that it contradicts the mind. The dawn, that is Sri Aurobindo's quotation, the dawn is, in the Veda, is the goddess symbolic of new opening of divine illumination of man's physical consciousness. He insists on physical, interestingly, because we may think about some spiritual opening, but he says that it is spiritual opening, but in the manifested physical consciousness. she alternates with her sister night, but the darkness itself is a mother of light, and always dawn comes to reveal what the black-browed mother has prepared, that nursing the greater dawn. Dawn and night are shaping out a whole variety of things in manifestation. Nana chakre Vapumshi, Yami Avapumshi, Yami, they are twins. Avapumshi, all the forms. Tayor Anyat Rochate, Krishnam Anyat. The twins have made all varieties of forms. The one is shining and the other is black. So this is the final slide. I will stop here, and if you have some questions or observations, we can discuss now in these last minutes, 10 minutes.
That is why they are always opposites to everything.
Yeah.
Because that is in manifestation. If there's a light, there's a dark. If there's a white, there's a black. If there's left brain, right brain. I mean,
absolutely.
Everything is there in this one physical form of us. And it is up to us to deal with that consciousness, which way we take it.
Right. I have much more big article on this. I will send you the article if you want to see more references, more quotations from the Rig Veda. I just took few from there.
Please.
Sure.
I was also thinking about the mind of the rishis, that they could synthesize. They say that through the opposite ways, one is dawn, one is night, both are actually manifesting the divine child or working towards laboring the one goal, the one aim. So it is like a synthesizing mind, like Sri Aurobindo talks about, the higher mind where the contraries meet. They do not see it as contraries.
Yes. Yes. Sri Aurobindo many times speaks about that the power of nature, or the way how nature manifests, is through contradictions. Yes, where there is light, there is the white, there is black, and white and black are actually kind of corresponding in a way, in fullness. Yeah, because if you mix all the colors, you will get black. Yeah, which is nothing but white. Yeah. So, because white light, if you split, you will get all the colors. And when you take all the colors back into, you will get black color. So it's an amazing thing that how it was kind of preordained, prearranged by the divine. It found a way to do it through these two mothers. And of course, dawn for Sri Aurobindo is Usha, and there are many hymns to Usha. I translated all of them actually in his light, because he doesn't translate all of them, only few. And he considers these hymns to be the most poetic, because they are describing the revelation or illumination in the embodied state of the highest spiritual values. Yes. And the fire, our aspiration, or the flame within the nature arrives, and to the dawn as his mother, and we will read this in the hymns to the mystic fire. He begs her, as a beggar he comes to her for delight. She brings the light to him, to the fire, and spreads him. Yeah? He grows through her. He rises through her and extends his powers. Without her, he cannot do it. He will be the flame in the dark. Yeah? But she actually feeds him. She is the mother to feed him and to charge him with delight he wants to have. So she is the divine mother, the dawn. according to Sri Aurobindo. She represents Aditi, as it were, in manifestation, and the night represents Didi in manifestation. These two sisters. Yeah?
In Savitri, in the first canto only, he talks about how the dawn comes, and you know, the descriptions are beautiful, and then she plants the seed, and then she leaves. The seed, you know, the seed of manifestation for the day. She plants the seed which will manifest as the day in the world, and you know, in people's lives. And that description is beautiful. She just comes, Usha comes just for a few, very few moments, and we can either catch the moment or we lose it because she comes and goes away after planting the seed. And then the light grows on earth.
Mm-hmm.
He describes that beautifully in Savitri.
Yes, right. I remember, yeah. I was thinking about your course in a way, why this alternation is needed, and it is always happening whether we want it or not. Not only that the day and night is coming all the time, whether we want it or not, but also in our spiritual life. Yeah, every time when you rise high above, or you realize something, you will have to face the unregenerated being more, because you have more capacity to face it. So the more your capacity grows, the more you will face. So it's a bit bad news for us. We thought that we will get out of this sooner rather than later. No way. There is no way out. Yeah.
There's no way out. But you know, I've realized that when you face the deeper darkness, because of a higher realization, you face a deeper darkness. But when you're going through that darkness experience, something within you guides you through it.
Yeah.
You don't
that
slip
capacity.
and fall and get confused. You know, you kind of know that this is here, and then you kind of see, because you're detached. So you see that darkness coming and you just walk through it. So it also gives you, because you went up to a higher level, when you go down to the deeper level, you carry that light. So you walk through that. It doesn't allow you to stumble and fall.
Very
it
true.
protects you and takes you through.
So these rising and falling are actually well balanced. So you will receive the
Mother's grace and protection through that darkness.
Right. You will receive the portion of darkness to deal with in accordance with your capacity of light.
Exactly. It never comes more than that.
So when you have very small life, like, you know, then there is not much darkness coming to you either.
Nothing is happening much.
Absolutely.
But it's an adventure. It's really a very interesting work.
That's a nice way of putting it, just like this, like this.
And then only one linear. No more vibration. Just existence, chewing and enjoying yourself.
That's when your heart stops.
More of consciousness.
Right. And you can see what Mother and Sri Aurobindo went through. It's incredible. Yeah, Sri Aurobindo says, I have 1001 wound from the Asuric blows, which are very difficult to heal. Yeah? So the higher you go, the more you will meet those forces. And that's why Sri Aurobindo says this yoga is not for everyone. It's not only for those who are called upon. Yes, you cannot really go on propagating the integral yoga, because this is not for everyone. Yeah?
No. He says it's not for the faint-hearted.
Yeah.
That's true.
I was thinking earlier when you were talking about light and darkness, the white light and the dark, that black actually is the reason we don't see any colors is because it absorbs all light, whereas white reflects all light. So the darkness is taking all of the light rays into itself. And just like a black hole, that's why we don't see any light in the center of a black hole. There's light there, but it can't escape.
Mm.
I was just thinking about that in reference to when you were talking about colors.
Yeah, nice. I was thinking more that they all the vibrations, red, blue, green, they are, so to say, contradicting. They are kind of making everyone look not kind of how to say, harshing themselves or neglecting themselves to the extent that the whole vibration is so much that it becomes black, so to say, everywhere. Because what is silence? Even in the very good idea of silence, silence is that all the vibrations are hushed because they are kind of influencing each other to the extent that they cannot get out and stand out. Yeah, the same with here with darkness. It's like light which is hushed by all the vibrations. None of them is capable to be seen. So that's the idea of what you say. Yes, only in other words.
Yeah.
When you mix colors, why you get black, not white? Interesting, yes. Though when you split the white light, you will get all the colors. And when you go back, you get into the dark. Interesting. So the darkness is nothing but the light, yes, but which went through separation and synthesis of those separated things, which are not really, how to put it, synthesized. They are more compiled or something, added. When they are added, they create darkness. When they are separately added, but when they are synthesized or united, they create light, white light. They are not united when you mix them. Black is, if you mix colors, they are not really united. They're just put separately into one place.
When we go through those cycles, when we're in a low cycle, it's because we haven't fully integrated and synthesized the experience.
Absolutely.
And that's why it seems like it's stressful or troublesome or,
right.
We call it suffering. Whereas it's just a question of getting ourselves to understand well, I can't think of the right word right now, but once we do synthesize that and we understand it, then we progress back up to that lighted state.
Right. So each vibration is blocking other vibration, but they are still separate. So by blocking one another, they are not allowing us to understand anything, to be. So once they are synthesized, when they are united, the light appears, the consciousness, the understanding that this element and this element work together. They find their proper places. They are not separate anymore. So separation of each element is creating darkness. That's how Mother describes it, actually.
Is that the integration around the psychic being that you're describing?
Well, psychologically, yes. In our psychology, we have talking archetypically, yes, like physically. Now, metaphysically speaking, yes. I think that integration around the psychic would create possibility for all the colors to find their proper synthetic belonging, where they are, how to say, efficiently adding their qualities rather than deficiently blocking others. So everyone finds its proper place and can be integrated into the divine action. And that's a very great comparison. You see, we arrived at new kind of ideas from the night and dawn.
So from chaos to balance.
Yes, to find its meaning, dharma, place, and time. Time is also another factor. Yeah, it may be the right place but wrong time. So all this is quite complex to find. For that, we need that central consciousness of the psychic, which will find the proper time and place for everything. And then it illumines it and brings the possibility for it to be divine again. And of course, the more transformation is necessary, the spiritual and supramental, but that is the next stage. Yeah, thank you for these. These are great ideas. And what I wanted to say about your course, which I didn't arrive at because we got stuck with the light, is that this awareness which we have to realize in the night, yeah, from the light, awareness in the night, is actually helping us also in the light to understand the obstacles of the night. And this is...
Say that again, that last part. Can you please repeat that?
Yeah, the realization of the light in the night helps us to realize the obstacles in the light, in the daytime. So we will see them more clearly, what is to be done, how to deal with them. So it's not only that way that we realize, but also this way. And this is the beauty of the course, I think. I was trying to say this last time also. The meaning is to be conscious, not only in the sleep state, but also in the awakened.
Because that is where we will actually work to change it more consciously.
Right.
You know, it is in the waking state that we can change those things which we realized in the sleeping state can be changed.
Yes. And this topic actually of dawn and night is very helpful.
Very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Very helpful.
Very nice. Great. So we can stop here today and meet another time.
Thank you so much, Vladimir.
Oh,
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Beautiful.
See you. Bye.